we learned about row echelon form. If you have a matrix, row echelon form has ones down the diagonal. So we would have 1, 1, 1, 1. And then in front of those ones, or to the left of the ones, are zeros. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then the stuff to the right could really be anything. And the trouble with row echelon form is it's not unique. There's more than one, probably an infinite number of row echelon forms. Maybe not, I don't know. Probably an infinite number. So the number to the right could be anything. We might have 0, 6, 3, 5, 1, 1, 2, 0, 8, 4. Okay? But what row echelon allows us to do is start from the last variable and work backwards. So this would be the x, y, z, w, and then the augmented. This is a 4-variable system. If you can think of that, what would a 4-variable linear system look like? Well, you're in 4 dimensions, which is hard to visualize, and you're looking at the intersection of 4 3-space objects, 3 cubes that go forever, right? You're looking at 4 3-dimensional spaces, and where do they intersect? Well, they all intersect at one point, which seems weird, right? So where do 4 3-dimensional universes intersect? At a single point, right here. So it's kind of hard to visualize, but mathematically it works out pretty easily. And in this one, you can see we know that W equals 4. So I can take W equals 4 and plug it into the equation above it. I stick this in here, and we know that Z equals 8. Now I can put 4 in there and 8 in there. So Y plus 8 plus 4 equals 2. So if I subtract 12, Y equals -10. And then I can plug in Y, Z, and W and solve for X. That's what row echelon allows us to do. But if we're going to be manipulating this matrix, why don't we just keep manipulating it until we end up with the answers instead of stopping at row echelon form, in which case you have to back substitute all of those values. So this is REF. And there is a button on your calculator that will turn a matrix into REF. Trouble is, you have to do a lot of work to get REF to give you the answers. So we use RREF, which stands for reduced row echelon form. It's row echelon form and then a little bit more. So RREF looks like this. Has ones down the diagonal. Okay? And then every other number in the non-augmented piece is a 0. So the augmented piece is that extra column, the answer column. So in reduced row echelon form, all of these are zeros, just like row echelon, and all of these are zeros. Why is that handy? Well, so it would be 4, 8, -10, and I didn't solve it. We'll call it 6. If you can simplify it to reduced row echelon form, every variable gets an answer. So you can read straight across, X is 6, Y is -10, Z is 8, and W is 4. So today, I'm going to teach you how to take a matrix and by hand convert it into reduced row echelon form. It's really not that hard. You just need to remember the 2 rules. You can switch any 2 rows you want. Well, I guess there are 3 rules. Take any row and replace it with any other row. So take any row and switch it with any other row. Okay? You can also multiply any row by any number. So if you want to multiply the whole row by 6, you can. And you can add or subtract any 2 rows and replace it with one of those rows that you were using. It doesn't matter which one, right? And as long as every row shows up somewhere in the calculations, you can make as many changes as you want. But you can't take row 2 and row 3 and replace it with row 1. Right? If you did 2 plus 3 and you stuck it in the row 1 place, you have deleted row 1's information, and that's a problem. Okay. So, let me show you how this works. So today's assignment is it's 817, 31 to 49 odd. So if you look at number 42, I want 42 to look like this: 1, 0, 0, 1, and then my answers will be over here in this augmented piece. Do I need to switch row 1 and row 2? No, because I already have a 1 in the place in the very first box. Okay? So I can use this 1 to turn that number into a 0. What do I need to do to row 1 to make the first number in row 2 have a 0? So I'm going to do 3 row 1 added to row 2, and I'm going to place that in which spot? Row 2. So I'm going to triple the top, which would be 3, -3, and 9. Add them together, and I create a new matrix that looks like this. 1, -1, 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. -3 plus 2 is -1. And 9 plus 2 is 11. Okay? I'm trying to get 1s down the diagonal. What do I need to do to get 1s down the diagonal? Change row 2 by multiplying by -1. So essentially, I'm just going to go in and change the signs. I don't even need to rewrite it. Okay? Now that I have a 1 in the second spot in row 2, I can use that to clear out the second number in row 1. I need that number to be a 0. So this one right here needs to be a 0. So I'm just going to take row 2 and I'm going to add it to row 1 and stick it in the row 1 place. So 0 plus 1 is 1. That's nice. It didn't change. 1 minus 1 is 0. And 11 plus 3 is 14. 0, 1, and -11. Oh, wait, that's a negative, huh? Sorry, it's not 14. It's -8. Now I have reduced row echelon form. The solution to this system is -8, -11. Okay? So take a look at 46. The 3 by 3s take a little bit more work. But the basic idea is get a 1 here. Once you have a 1 there, use it to put zeros there and there. Then your next step is to put a 1 there. Use that to get zeros here and here. Then your next step would be put a 1 there and use that to put zeros here and here. So you work down the diagonal, and every time you get a 1 in the right spot, you use it to clear out the spots underneath it or above it. That's the idea. Okay? All right. What's the best way to put a 1 in that place? Switch row 2 and 3. That's what I would do. Now, if we think one step ahead, if I switched 1 and 2, is that going to put a 1 here? It'll put a -1, but remember, we're going to change it because I have to get rid of this 3. Right? That 3 is going to go away, so it's going to change the next step. So you really can't think that far ahead. Which row is going to be the best? All right, I'm switching these. So 1, -2, 3, 1, 3, -1, 1, 2, and 2, 1, -3, -1. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of this so you can see. All right. So how am I going to clear out this 3? Okay, triple the top and then subtract. So if I triple the top, I would get 3, -6, 9, and 3. And now I subtract 1 from the other. So 1, -2, 3, 1. It doesn't matter which one I subtract, so I'll do top minus bottom. 3 minus 3 is 0. -6 minus 1 is -5. Oh, well, no, -6 minus -1, right? I'm doing top minus bottom. 9 minus 1 is 8. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then I'm going to times the top. And maybe you would prefer to times it by -2 so you don't have to subtract. So this would be -2, +4, -6, and -2. And then we just add 0, 5, -9, and -3. Oh, really? That's not cool. So I need a 1 right here. I'm going to divide by -5. It's not going to be nice. So 1, -2, 3, 1, 0. -5 divided by -5 is 1. And then I get -8/5 and -1/5. And then 0, 5, -9, -3. Now that I have my second 1 in place, I use it to clear out the numbers above it and below it. So if I double the second row and then add it to the first row, that will turn this into a 0. And they're going to be fractions, and I guess this one, there's just no way to avoid them. So if I double the bottom, I get 2, -16/5, and -2/5. Add that to the first row. 1, 0, 3/5, or 3 written in fifths is 15/5. So -16/5 plus 15/5 would be -1/5. And then 1 minus 2/5 is going to be 3/5. And you can use the decimals if you'd prefer. And then 0, 1, -8/5, and -1/5. And then I need to multiply it by 5, -5, to cancel this row, to cancel that 5 there. So that's going to give me -5. -8/5 times -5 is 8. And -1/5 times 5, -5, is +1. So 0, 0, -1, 4. 0, 0, -1, and 4. So now I need to turn that -1 into a +1. And then how am I going to clear out the zeros on the second row? What do I need to do to this row to cancel that? Times it by 8/5. So this would be 8/5, and that would be -32/5. Is that right? No. Sorry. Not 32. Yeah. Negative +32/5. So this cancels that. So 0, 1, 0. And then when I add negative 32 over 5, that didn't quite work. I'm having a bad day. Bad 2 days. 4. Oh, sorry, this was supposed to be a 2/5. Nope, 3/5. So that gives me negative 35 over 5, which is 7. So 0, 0, 1, negative 4. And then I need to times this by 1/5. So that would be negative 4/5. And 1, 0. This cancels that for a 0. And then 4/5 and 3/5 ended up being negative 1/5. That was no fun. Let's do one of the ones in your set. 41. We'll do a couple. 41. I need to turn this into a 0, so I'm going to multiply the top by negative 2. Negative 2, negative 4, negative 8. Add them together. 1, 2, 4, 0, negative 1, negative 6. Times the bottom by negative 1. And then what do I need to do to the second row to get rid of this 2? Times it by negative 2. And then add the first and the last together. 1, those cancel, 0, negative 8, and then 0, 1, 6. So my answers are negative 8, 6. That one wasn't bad. All right. Let's do 45. So I'm going to write it down and then get this out of the way. Okay. What should we do to start? Switch the first and second. So 1, negative 1, 1, negative 4, 3, negative 2, negative 3, negative 1, 2, 3, 5, and 14. Now, I have my first one in place. I need to use it to clear out the numbers underneath it. So I'm going to times the top by negative 3, and that would give me negative 3, positive 3, negative 3, and positive 12. So my first row remains unchanged. 1, negative 1, 1, negative 4. My bottom row becomes 0, 1, negative 6, 11. Well, that was really convenient. So I need to times the top by negative 2 to clear out this number. So negative 2, positive 2, negative 2, positive 8. Add those. 0, 5, 3, 22. Now luckily, I already have my second one in place. So I use that to clear out the numbers above and below it. So I can just add the top and the first and second, and that will clear out this number. So if I add 1 and 2 together, 1, 0, negative 5, 7, and 0, 1, negative 6, 11. And what do I need to do to row 2 to clear out the second number in row 3? Times it by negative 5. So negative 5, negative, or wait, negative, sorry, wrong row. So negative 5, 30, negative 55. So that clears out 0, 0, 33, and negative 33. Now what should I do? Divide the bottom row by 33. So 1, 0, negative 5, 7, 0, 1, negative 6, 11, 0, 0, 1, negative 1. Now I use this number to clear out that number, and I will have my RREF, and that will tell me what the answers are. So I need to times the bottom by 6. So 6 and negative 6. That will clear out the second one. And I need to times it by 5. 5 and negative 5, and that will clear out the top one. So the top row becomes 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, 5, and 0, 0, 1, negative 1. So the solutions to this system are the 3-spaced point 2, 5, negative 1. That one worked out to be a lot better. Does that make sense? Can you guys handle the other? What do you have? 3 problems left? Okay. Good luck.